Greetings, urban farmers, gardeners, and healthy food visionaries. Farmer Greg here, and welcome to the 578th episode of the Urban Farm Podcast, where every day we work together to educate and inspire you to become part of your food revolution. Stay tuned for the most amazing deal on bulk seeds and seed-saving education you have ever seen. Normally around this time of year, our team puts on an event called the Great American Seed Up, where we pack hundreds of people into a room over a few days to scoop amazing open-pollinated and heirloom seeds for their gardens. We came up with the Scoop Your Own model because the majority of the cost of seeds is actually in the packaging and distribution. So by eliminating these costs, people can buy the seeds in bulk at bulk prices. Well, as you can imagine, packing hundreds of people in a room is not feasible these days, so we had to get creative. And we came up with Seed Up in a Box. And what's amazing about it is that now you can get these bulk seeds wherever you are in the world. We've chosen seeds that are popular, non-GMO, open-pollinated, and easy to grow. They're bundled 10 jumbo packs per variety so that you can share them with your community, family, church, or school. Your job is to split them into individual packages. Our job is to make them as inexpensive as possible, and right now they're averaging about 60 cents per individual jumbo portion. With all the uncertainty in the world, a lot of people are thinking about how we can make our future more food secure. Seed Up in a Box is a great way to do this because each bundle has enough seeds and education so that you may never have to purchase seeds again. This is an amazing deal, and I'm so excited for the opportunity to take the Great American Seed Up all around the world via our Seed Up in a Box. Learn more about Seed Up in a Box and get your own bundle by going to greatamericanseedup.org. That's greatamericanseedup.org. Today on our podcast, we have someone who raises Coturnix Quail and sells their eggs. We're talking with Zack Greene about running a quail farm. Zack is a former multi-store restaurant manager turned homesteader that specializes in Coturnix Quail. His family has been switching over to self-sufficiency over the past 10 years through gardening, canning, raising animals, and more. His quail journey led him to 5,000 birds and a self-started company that now ships 500,000 hatching eggs a year. Wow. Welcome to the show today, Zack. Are you ready to rock quail eggs?
Absolutely.
Excellent. So I shared a bit about you. Can you fill in the blanks for us and share more about the path you took to get where you're at today?
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't take too much credit. Mainly my wife that did all this. I grew up in a Dayton area, so it was a suburban area. We never had any animals growing up. We didn't farm. We didn't have a garden. That's just not how my family operated. But Jenna's always been very interested in being self-sufficient. And so we moved to the farm about 10 years ago. And, we had a plan. And the plan was, let's get to the farm. Let's become a little self-sufficient. Let's find something that will provide us financially where we can do on the farm. And let's just keep moving. And that's kind of where we're at now.
Wow. And so you started when we first got on the phone by telling me that you went from a dozen quail to 5,000. Tell me about that journey.
Well, when we got here, we decided to raise meat chickens. So Jenna would order, the chicks from a hatchery. Mm-hmm. We would raise them up and then, we would butcher. And we felt pretty good about it, raising our own meat. But it really wasn't self-sufficient because obviously the meat hybrid chickens, won't live long enough to start laying their own eggs.
Right.
So we really wanted to be a little bit more self-sufficient. So she did some research and she got some bobwhite quail, she got some Coturnix quail, and she got some chuckers. And within, maybe a month or two, we were just absolutely in love with the Coturnix quail, how they made us feel as far as being more self-sufficient because you can breed generation to generation to generation. And, they're so fast growing that the egg production and the meat was just instant gratification. And we just never looked back. So she got 12 live birds from Craigslist, actually.
Right.
And then we just never stopped. We just kept growing, and then we had some extra eggs, and so she posted, we had some eggs for sale, and then they just kept buying and kept buying, and so we decided to increase the number of quail we had, and now we're at 5,000, and we're growing about another 500, and then we are done. No more. That's it.
How long do they live for?
The average production standpoint, as far as laying eggs, is about 2 years. But the great thing about them is, you put them in the incubator and, they hatch. So that baby chick on day one will start laying eggs at 6 weeks old.
Oh, wow.
And they don't have a laying season. So they lay about 300 eggs a year starting at 6 weeks old. And they'll be just as productive for about 2 years straight before they start decreasing in production. I kind of explain it to people that don't know what quail are, is it's kind of a miniature chicken. So a standard quail is about 9 ounces, so it fits in the palm of your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And we have jumbos, that are specifically bred for meat and eggs, and they get about 14 ounces on average at full maturity, but at full maturity is only 10 weeks old. So it's not that long.
Wow.
And they're just so healthy for you. We love everything about them.
Wow. And so what does a quail egg taste like?
Like a chicken egg. It's about, a little around a third of the size of a chicken egg.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to the store and you buy, chicken eggs to cook with, they're just kind of plain Jane white. But these quail eggs are speckled, brown and black speckles, and every egg is a little bit more unique. Every egg's a little bit different, which is really cool. And they are so much healthier for you than chicken eggs. We have quite a bit of customers that are allergic to chicken eggs, but most likely you're not allergic to quail eggs. The protein in them, there's so many benefits. I know a lot of people raise them. My customers raise them for the health benefits. It helps with diabetes. It helps with IBS. It just helps with so many different things.
Wow. And you're actually shipping 500,000 eggs a year. Who do you ship 500,000 eggs a year to?
Anyone, which is another great part of Coturnix Quail. So we ship to all 50 states. We are what's called NPIP. So it's a program by each state, and they come out twice a year and inspect our facility and, test our quail for diseases and things like that. And then they give us permission to ship fertilized eggs or live quail all over the U.S. So we've shipped to all 50 states. We've shipped to Hong Kong. We've shipped to Australia. We've shipped to Canada and the UK. Trinidad and Tobago. So it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, we ship all over the U.S. and it's pretty much everybody. I have customers that have, a 500-acre farm and they raise Coturnix quail. We have people that live in an apartment and, put them in their spare bedroom and raise them there.
Mm-hmm.
When we started our business, obviously the first 12 quail we got was not for a business. It was for us being a little bit more self-sufficient. And when we just started in our garage, just bought a rabbit hutch on Craigslist for like $20 and put them in there. And, it's grown into this massive operation.
So being somebody, congratulations, by the way, and being somebody that has had many businesses, I've had in excess of 30 businesses in my life. I started my first one in 1974 at the age of 15 years old. I know what it takes to scale up. And some of my businesses lasted, I'd say, a sneeze. And I've had a couple that are well over 20 years now that I've run. And I know what it takes to scale up. And buying 12 quail hens and moving to 5,000, that's a scaling issue. How did you go about scaling up?
I'm a really big believer that it is slow and steady wins the race. So we just built a brand new quail barn just for our quail that will fit about 5,500 quail. And that's about as many as I want to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
I think the demand is larger than that, but we can have more quail breeders than just me.
Right.
So that's about as far as I want to get. But it was always, we took the safe approach. So it took a lot longer to get where we knew we could be but we took the safe route to get there. For the first, 5 years of the business, I worked full-time somewhere else, and Jenna worked full-time on the business. And then about a year before we decided that I was going to make it full-time, I kind of went part-time. And, so we just took every step of the way a little bit small. So when we didn't have enough eggs for the demand that we had, we would wait about a month or two to make sure that it was consistent. And then when we would increase. And then when that was, again, we needed to increase, we would wait and make sure that it was consistent. So slow and steady has been the race here. We've taken our time and done things on purpose.
Nice. Congratulations. Well, and I commented before we started recording, as a former multi-store restaurant manager, you know about scale.
Yes.
And scaling up, and that's really important. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
So if I'm driving up the driveway to your farm, what am I seeing? What do I see?
Well, we are about 20 minutes from a main city, so we're kind of out of the way, but we're close enough where we can get where we need to go. But once you turn into our driveway, we've got about a quarter of a mile driveway, and it's a wooded area on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get up, we have a little pasture that has Angus cows. We've got miniature donkeys. We've got fainting goats. We've got emus. We've got cooney pigs.
Wow.
We've got rabbits and chickens. We've got geese and ducks and peacocks. And I'm probably forgetting.
Oh my gosh.
My wife, go ahead.
I was going to say, is there any you don't have? Let's go with that list.
Well, my wife still has a list to get. My wife and the kids, they're animal lovers for sure. So all that stuff is mainly for us. Obviously, the Angus cows are for us for consumption, and the cooney pigs are for consumption. And, obviously the emus and the goats and the donkeys, they're just for fun. The peacocks are just for fun. But, we try to be as self-sufficient as possible, but we want to have a fun place. This where we live is not just our home and not just our business. It's our paradise. This is what we want. So you'll see a lot of stuff when you come back.
Wow, nice. And where are you located?
We're in Miamisburg, Ohio, which is pretty much Dayton, Ohio. We're about 40 miles north of Cincinnati.
Excellent. So it's you and your wife. Do you have people help you with 5,000 quail?
I've got one full-time employee that lives here on the farm.
Oh, nice. Nice. So the three of you manage all of that.
Well, the kids have chores.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I really take a lot of pride in having a family-owned and operated business. And once we built this new quail barn, I knew that it would be 20 hours a day, every day, for the rest of my life if I didn't get some help. And, my wife homeschools, and we've got 5 kids, and, she can't. Everybody's got so much to do, plus everything else that we have on the farm. So I decided to bring in actually one of my previous customers, my former customers, lived in Indiana, and he would come over here almost every weekend just to help out, hang out, and we became really good friends. And about a little over a year ago, I called him and I said, "Hey, how about you just move here? Let's do this together."
Nice.
And he's part of the family now.
Oh, excellent. How cool is that? So what's the difference between raising quail and raising chickens?
Well, George, which is the person that moved here to help me, he loves chickens, and he raises all different types of chickens. Well, the only chickens that we had were the meat chickens that we bought from the hatchery. Well, I can't stand them. Well, he's got different types. They're not so bad, but I'm still prejudiced with the Coturnix Quail because, like I said, if you get chickens, you're waiting 6 months. You're raising this chicken for 6 months before you start getting any production out of it.
Yep.
Quail, they've been laying for 6 months pretty much,
Yeah.
So just the fast turnaround. Like I said, they're kind of miniature chickens, so you don't need a lot of space to house very many. And the eggs and the meat are so healthy for the family. And, it's a perfect way to start your self-sufficiency. I don't think that quail should or can be your only source of self-sufficiency, but it's an amazing start, and it's an amazing way to get the whole family on board with it.
Right. Wow. Wow. So you have a YouTube channel. Tell me about that.
We do. It's My Shire Farm on YouTube, and we try to encourage, enthuse, educate, and inspire people to become more self-sufficient. Most of the videos on there are about raising quail and helping them on their journey with self-sufficiency in that way. But, we do a live video every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's on a live Q&A. So I would say a majority of my customers pretty much live in a suburban area. They don't have a lot of room. Most of them don't have a lot of experience with raising anything or being self-sufficient in any way. And so, we just get on there and we talk about, self-sufficiency and how to raise them. And if they have questions, and, we do some giveaways on there and things like that. But, we try to encourage and educate as much as possible, because if you're educated on the matter, then you're more confident and more comfortable. And if we can make people a little bit more confident in being self-sufficient, then we've done our job.
Oh, absolutely. Good on the education. Everything we do here at the Urban Farm revolves around education, so I hear you on that. For somebody who's a vegetarian and doesn't eat the meat, are quail something that can just give you eggs and you're good to go there?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a running joke on our YouTube live video we do every week that I kind of say that Coturnix are kind of like the Bubba Gump shrimp from Forrest Gump. Uh-huh. There's just so many ways that you can utilize them. We have customers for raw dog food, for our extra males that we don't need. We sell eating eggs, we sell hatching eggs, we sell chicks. I know a handful of my customers that live all over the U.S. will order hatching eggs from us. They'll hatch them out, and then they'll sell them for quite a bit of a profit on day one, and then they're not raising any. But they're still, making a little side business.
Yeah.
We sell adults, and we ship adults all over the U.S. for, starter sets and things like that. I would say our biggest is falconers as far as our extra males go, because everything's got to eat, life is a cycle.
Yep.
And dog training. And in Asia, quail eggs are a delicacy. So we've got an Asian market in Cincinnati, and
oh my gosh,
I could just sell every egg to them if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I like to spread the eggs out everywhere.
Yeah.
But they absolutely love them. And it's turned out, we didn't know this when we started, but the manure from quail is probably the best, if not the best, for putting on your garden because it's so acidic. So, it's perfect for gardening as well.
Uh-huh. Wow. So are you just using it, or is that something you sell as well?
We don't sell that. We use it for ourselves. We're considering maybe doing something with it, but that's a whole different business. And
oh yeah,
I'm still trying to get all this in order.
Yeah. Wow. So I hear that you had an epic moment with one of your patrons in Puerto Rico. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So like I said, we do our YouTube channel, and I'm pretty active on Facebook and things like that. I try to do as much social media out as possible. Mm-hmm. But on our YouTube videos, a man from Puerto Rico was watching and listening, and we have a YouTube video about how to make your own quail cage and, the hatching process and what I need to know about quail getting started and things like that. And he decided to start making his own cages. And he had called me, I guess this was about 6 months ago. And he said, "Hi, I'm really sorry. Do you have just a few minutes to talk?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "I just want you to know, I know it sounds weird, but you completely changed my life." And I said, "In the good or bad way? Because I'm sorry if I don't know what I did."
Oh, yeah.
And he said, "No, you really inspired me to really do something that I really love. And I love working with my hands. And I've always worked jobs because I had to. And so we started making the cages that you did on your YouTube video, and we got some quail. And now we have our own business. My kids are involved. They're partial owners. And so now I get to stay home and be with my kids. And I've never been happier. And I just want to thank you so much." And I would say that's been the biggest epic moment so far in our journey.
There is self-sufficiency at its best.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Congratulations, man. That's huge.
Yeah. And I really believe that self-sufficiency is not just taking care of yourself or eating healthy or raising your own, meat or vegetables or whatever. It's a mindset. It's a fulfillment that you get.
Mm-hmm.
There's pride in knowing that, I'm doing something for me. I'm doing something for my family. And so that story and many others are just, it makes me very happy and very motivated to do more.
Nice. Congratulations. Plus, you get to work on your farm at home with your family every day. How cool is that?
Absolutely.
Quail are kid-friendly, I hear. Tell me about that.
We are very motivated on the next generation. So I've got two quick stories. I won't try to bore you, but the first is every month, we do a giveaway on our YouTube channel, and it is for 60 free Myshire eggs and a Wynola Ranch cage. And Wynola Ranch is a company based out of Texas, I believe. I think they have a Texas and a California plant, and they specialize in quail cages. So we do a giveaway every month for 18 and under contest. And
Wow.
What they do is anyone that's 18 and under will email myself or Jenna and let us know why they want to raise quail and what they want to do with it. And this has just blown up. And it has really, really gotten a lot of 18 and under kids very interested in self-sufficiency, responsibility, and entrepreneur skills. And I think it's absolutely fantastic that all these kids are very, very interested in it. We probably get, on average, between my email and Jenna's, about 70 to 100 different
Requests
entries
a month?
every month.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's very rewarding. And I'll get emails, even on the kids that didn't win, I'll get emails from parents saying, I'm going to buy them all this stuff just because I'm so happy that they're getting off their electronics and their TV.
Right.
They want to do something, There's that story. The second story is I cannot count how many emails, texts, phone calls that I've gotten from parents that have just been so excited because, I think quail keeps the attention of kids because the lifespan is so fast.
Mm-hmm.
So if you order eggs, the kids are looking into the incubator and, they're building anticipation for these to hatch, and then they do hatch, and, chicks are so cute. And then in just 6 weeks, they're collecting the eggs and they feel so happy, and, they kind of double as pets. So I can't express to you how many people have reached out and said, this has really brought our family closer. This is something that they're interested in. It's not a lot of work, but very rewarding. And that's something that I absolutely love about this is it's a whole family experience. And I've had, dare I say, thousands of contacts just saying that, it's something that their whole family does together. So it's very rewarding.
Wow. Congratulations, man. That's got to make you feel really good.
It really does. Absolutely.
Cool. So I'm going to shift on you, and I'd like for you to talk about a time you failed, how you overcame that failure, and what you learned from it.
We've adapted a mindset here that not only is failure not an option, but failure doesn't exist. The reason I say that is because everything is a lesson, whether it's a failure or a success, whether it turns out the way you thought it was going to, or it turned out the opposite. It doesn't matter. If you learn something from it, then it just makes you better for the future. Now, with that being said, I'm going to give you the worst quote-unquote failure we've ever had as far as being self-sufficient and our business. But about 5 years ago, I would say, it started to be around November, and, we were raising our quail for the next generation and hatching out a ton of chicks. And we were putting about 100 chicks in each brooder. And about 80 to 90% were dying off within 1 or 2 days.
Oh my gosh.
And we've been raising quail. Yeah, we've been raising quail for a couple years. And we went, oh my, what is going on? And, we tried everything under the sun. Finally, we called our inspector, our MPIP guy, and we said, look, we need you to come out. We can't figure this out, and it's driving us crazy. So they were kind enough that they came out. They asked us to keep a couple, and they did an autopsy. And they said, well, the chick is starving itself to death. And we said, what? There's plenty of food. There's plenty of water. What are you talking about? And she said, well, let me look at the brooder. So, we opened up the brooder, and she goes, aha, is this how you keep the whole setup? Because a brooder is pretty much just a box with, a heat source, some feed and some water. That's all you need. And we said, yeah. And she said, okay, well, it's cold and your feed and water are too far away from the heat source. And if they move, they're going to get cold, so they don't move. And then they get weak and then they can't.
Wow.
And we were like, so they're not eating? She said, no. She said, move the feed 6 inches closer. So we did.
Oh my gosh.
All of a sudden, we maybe lost 1 or 2 out of every 100 going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And we went, oh my gosh. I mean, looking back, it's the simplest thing in the world, but it's just, we weren't adapting and we weren't realizing the situation that we were in. When it's summer, it's going to be warmer and they're going to be more active. When it's dead of winter, when it's starting to get cold out, we got to adapt to that. Everything's got to change a little bit. So we went through a really bad failure there, but we learned so much about it. It's probably one of our best successes because we just became so much better at raising them.
Yeah. Wow. That's a great story. Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah.
What do you consider your biggest success?
I would say that I'm fulfilled. I've been working full-time, 40 hours plus since I was 15 years old. I guess what you would consider a workaholic.
Yeah, me too.
My mother is a workaholic. My grandparents were workaholics. It's in my DNA. And, I was a multi-store manager. And, I would just travel around and I would work 18 hours a day. And that's just what I knew. And that's, I had to provide for my family. And then something changed about 10 years ago. And I just decided that, I want to provide for my family and I want to take care of them, but I want to be there. And I wasn't. So we moved to the farm and we came with a plan that one way or the other, I'm going to be home more. And so the greatest success is not the 5,000 quail or the 500,000 eggs a year or starting our own business. All that is great. But I get to have lunch with my kids. I get to have dinner with my family. I get to have date night with my wife. And I never did that before.
Right.
So I the first time in my life, I feel fulfilled.
That's huge. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. What drives you?
Well, I think that's kind of a 3-part answer. Obviously, I'm a workaholic and I've been working since I was 15 and, providing for my family and myself, that drives me. Money, finances drive me. But the older I've gotten, being home, kind of like what I just talked about, it drove me. It motivated me to step out of my comfort zone and try new things. And I wanted to take care of my family, but I wanted to not miss out on what was going on in my family either. And in the past couple of years, it's kind of transitioning again. And that is, like the epic story I was talking about, inspiring someone else and bringing families close together. I know it sounds crazy. We're talking about quail, we're talking about Coturnix, but it's the way that we're doing it is really what drives me, because that motivates and encourages other people to do things. And that really drives me, that makes me want to do even more and spread the word even more that, you can start your own business. You can be fulfilled. You don't have to be stuck in, the mundane day in, day out thing. You're in control of your own destiny. And as we know, there's all kinds of crazy in the world going on every day, it seems like. But either that can either control you or you can control it. And you can say, listen, I'm in control and I'm going to do my part for myself.
Yeah.
So
wow.
That really motivates me now.
This is one of the big reasons that I started doing this podcast, was to give people pictures of something other than sitting behind a desk that you don't like.
Sure.
So, and if you could recommend one book for our listeners, what would it be and why?
Well, it has nothing to do with quail, but it is by T.D. Jakes and it's called Soar. It's an absolutely fantastic read. It's about entrepreneurship and, learning life lessons as you go, and self-realization. What are you good at? What are you bad at? And, improve on what you can improve on and appreciate what you're already naturally good at. So it's really, it's very factual. It's historical. It talks about the Wright brothers and their journey to fly. And it's a fantastic book. It's very motivational, factual, educational, and, it all revolves around becoming your own entrepreneur, becoming your own master of what's going on in your life.
Nice. What one final piece of advice do you have for our listeners?
I would just say keep moving. No matter what is going on in life or in the world or in your surroundings, there's always an option. And I know that a lot of people feel that, they're just kind of stuck, and it's just in your mind. And if you just keep moving forward, I'm a big believer that you do things on paper, on purpose. And, you make a plan, and everything you do needs to revolve around, is this getting me closer to what would make me happy? And it's all about the journey, So enjoy the bad as much as you can, because through the quote-unquote failures, that's when you learn the most. That's when you become who you're supposed to become, if you can embrace that. So just keep moving forward and take some risks when need be, and no one is going to make you fulfilled unless you do your part.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, and thanks for joining us on the show today, Zack.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
You bet. How can our listeners get a hold of you?
Well, we are pretty active on the social medias. We've got our Instagram and our Facebook, which is My Shire Farm. We've got our YouTube channel, which is My Shire Farm. And obviously we've got our website that also has some blogs on there, some reading material, and that is www.myshirefarm.com. And I'm very transparent, so you can always feel free to give me a call or a text, and that is at 937-760-7282.
Nice. Thank you. You can also find show notes from today's podcast at urbanfarm.org/My Shire Farm.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Urban Farm Podcast. Remember to listen for tips, advice, and resources to help you on your journey with urban farming. You can find us on the web at urbanfarm.org or send us an email to podcast@urbanfarm.org. In the words of Vincent van Gogh, great things are done by a series of small things brought together. Be encouraged that with each lesson learned and skill developed, you are one step closer in the direction of your dreams.